and I'll call it to order while it's being recorded. And this is the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency, Tuesday, February 22nd, 6 p.m. by video conference, teleconference. Have a roll call, Alexis, please.
Cheryl Brown.
Here.
Ed Holowenko.
Heard something.
Yep.
Heard something.
Yep. It's frozen. Okay, we'll go back to Ed. John Mailing.
Here.
Jennifer Balliet.
Here.
Matt Pence.
Here.
And Steve Clockey.
Here.
Okay.
Okay. A quorum having been established. Next item is public comments. Do we have anybody on the line?
If you are an attendee and wish to speak, use the raise your hand feature. But I don't think so, no.
Okay. We can be flexible if somebody shows up later, but okay. So we'll move on to receipt and discussion. First item is S22-589, 464 West Cedar Street. This is the corrective action permit application following an upheld enforcement order. I have to say, having read the materials and looked at in the files, it seems to me that this application remains incomplete at this point. Alexis?
That's correct. I don't see, if anyone is here representing the applicant, please speak up. It is a corrective action application, so it's an application that the applicant did not really want to be making. In your packet, there is a letter from myself, a preliminary review of the application. You're correct, it is incomplete. Very incomplete. It does not have much at all other than one sheet of the application page and a photograph of a survey.
No application fee received.
Yes, you can still receive it. It is, but you can absolutely note that it is incomplete.
Well, I would move to deny this application on the basis that it's incomplete.
Or can we communicate anything else to them that might help move things along?
Maybe a second doesn't have to agree with the motion, but you should probably have a second and then discussion.
Okay, sorry. So I guess I'll second to keep the discussion going.
I was going to say, it just occurred to me, what happens if we make a motion and there's no second? Then we don't have a motion, right?
Yeah, then it just kind of
goes away.
Goes away.
All right. Well, anyway, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Now we can talk about what to do about it.
That can certainly be discussed or communicated to the applicant to make sure that he understands the requirements of the order that you had upheld, and that as it says in the order, a denied or incomplete application does not meet the directives of that order. So maybe it's up to you, but in the past, you've certainly given other applicants a bit of time to complete their incomplete applications. So I would encourage you to kind of maybe not the full 65 days that's allotted, but kind of a note that it's incomplete, and then I can communicate that to the applicant for the next meeting and see what we get.
Alexis, did you receive the fee from them that's referenced in your letter?
Yeah, no, I have not received any communication back from the applicant since I sent that preliminary review letter.
So by denying the application right now, really we're resetting the clock on them to resubmit an application?
It's resetting the clock to the point where if they submit a complete application, the clock can start. But if they don't, then they're just in violation of the corrective action order, the enforcement order.
Right. So then we would, I would take it to the law department and ask for a temporary injunction. But really, you want to be clear that you've exhausted all administrative opportunities to relieve the violation. So
we might want to give them a little more time and see if something shakes loose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, you received, I mean, you did not receive any response to your letter of February 1st. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, from my standpoint, you know, I'm willing to be voted down on the motion, but to me, it's not a matter of completing the application. It's a matter of submitting the application. I don't think we have anything. That's my perspective and the reason behind my motion. And so if there's no more discussion, we can vote on it. No more discussion. Okay. All in favor of denying the motion as incomplete, raise your hand, I guess. Okay, that's what, four?
Maybe we can do a roll call.
Okay.
Matt Pence?
I'm in favor of supporting the motion.
Steve Crockey?
Nay, even though I seconded it.
Brown?
Nay.
Mailing?
Aye.
Belliot?
Yes.
Hollowinko?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I'm in support of the motion.
Okay, so the motion passes 4-2.
Okay. That having been resolved, we can move on to Chick-fil-A, 467 Connecticut Avenue, S22 590. Reconfiguration of drive-through parking area, associated grading adjacent to wetlands watercourse. I think the applicant is here.
Yes, Mr. Mailing, we are.
Good. And it's the Acropolis tonight. That's great, Liz. All right.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mailing, members of the commission. My name is Liz Suchy. I'm a partner at Carmody, Torrance, Sandak, and Hennessy. And on the line tonight with me is Dan Peterson, civil engineer with Bowler Engineering, Chad Baker of Chick-fil-A, Tony DeSanza, and I think Troy Nixon. So if there are any questions of any of us, you certainly would be happy to answer them. The applicant is, as indicated, is Chick-fil-A, is a tenant at 467 Connecticut Avenue. The property is District 5, Block 53A, Lot 6. It's Zone Business Number 1. Excuse me, it's bounded by Connecticut Avenue to the north, Rampart Road to the east, land of the state of Connecticut to the west, to the south, and Eversource Utility to the west. The existing conditions, there's a 2-story Chick-fil-A freestanding restaurant with drive-through facility that was approved by this commission and the zoning commission in 2015, constructed in 2016, and completed in 2017. There was also a second structure approved on the site, but it was never constructed. Chick-fil-A has parking, drive aisles, and a drive-through that circulate around the property coming, when someone comes off Connecticut Avenue, make a right turn into the parking lot from Rampart Road and circulate in a counterclockwise direction across the northern portion of the property, making orders at the kiosks and then circulating to the west of the building and then coming out onto Rampart Road. There is an existing rain garden on Connecticut Avenue that was approved as part of the inland wetland approval in 2015, and that rain garden is fully operational, and there is no proposed change to it.
Can you just outline it, Liz? Just
sure. I think
right there.
Yeah, to the north of where the drive aisle is.
Thank you.
Right there. There are no inland, other than that rain garden, there are no inland wetlands or watercourses directly on the property, but Keeler's Brook is off-site on the Eversource property to the west, and that is where that hand is indicating that's Keeler's Brook, flowing from generally where Connecticut Avenue is, southbound, and then off to a marshy area behind the adjoining property. Excuse me. It's largely channelized with earth and fill embankments, masonry walls. There's a definite stream bank. And as I said before, near I-95, the stream widens to a small marsh bordering on that southwestern side. The upland review area from Keeler's Brook does extend onto 467 Connecticut Avenue, the Chick-fil-A site. And that is why an application was submitted to and eventually approved by this commission. The proposal before you is an outgrowth of issues that arose during COVID, in which patrons and customers were coming onto the site as they had been, but then there were backups and queuing issues onto Rampart Road and onto Connecticut Avenue. So the decision was made to figure out what we could do to improve circulation, increase the queuing lengths, and remove that backing up onto Rampart Road and eventually onto Connecticut Avenue that was substantial during the height of COVID, but has slackened off quite a bit today. And numerous discussions with planning and zoning staff, public works and transportation, mobility and parking resulted in the proposal that is before you. And I'll let Dan go into more detail, but generally speaking, the drive aisles that you saw on the map, the previous map, that were adjacent to the rain garden, those drive aisles would be removed. The drive aisle around the western or rear of the building, where customers make their orders and then they travel around the back of the building and pick up their orders, that would be removed. Instead, the circulation and ordering and pickup would be in an entirely different configuration. And this is the configuration proposed. In addition to removing the drive aisle, the impervious surface along the northern area of the property and the western area of the property, lawn would be restored, additional plantings along that western property line, and additional landscape areas. So at this point, I'd like Dan to describe the project in more detail to you and certainly answer any technical questions that you may have.
Before Dan starts, can I just ask, are these graphics available to us in the conservation application file?
I believe that this is a slightly modified plan based upon comments that Alexis shared 2 weeks ago before your meeting that did not proceed on the 8th of February, but we certainly can make them, email them to Alexis, and if they haven't already been, and then they can be emailed to you as well. But if you,
I think you ought to have as much as there is. Right now, I'm looking at a schematic that's dated, that says 2016 landscaping plan, which is, you know, obviously that's what we've got, but it isn't what we're going to have. So
right.
That's why I'm looking this. If it can just be put up, I mean, you know, uploaded into the conservation file, then we can all get at it. And, you know,
sure. Sure. If it hasn't been sent to Alexis electronically, we'll make sure that it is, and then I'm sure that she will upload that very quickly.
Okay.
At this point, may I have Dan go through this plan with you in a little more detail?
All right. Good evening, everyone. So as Ms. Suchi reported earlier, this all stemmed from traffic issues. The drive-through originally went behind the building, so there was impervious between the building and Keeler's Brook. We are now relocating that drive-through all the way to the back of the site. When we're removing all of that impervious, we're going to replace it with landscaping. We are maintaining this existing rain garden up front. We're not touching that. We're maintaining the trees that are between the existing drive-through lane and the rain garden. We'll be reestablishing some landscaping in this area, which was also previously the drive-through lane. There were several trees. I believe there were 2 trees kind of on the north side of the building and 2 trees on the south side of the building. We'll be replanting or planting new trees on the north side of the building just because we have some utility constraints further south. Right between the building and Keeler's Brook, where we used to have the drive-through lane, that's going to be 100% vegetation. There were some holly shrubs previously along there. We're going to replace those with another rain garden, which is going to treat runoff from a new canopy. It's the meal delivery canopy. So when you pull up, you're underneath the canopy, and that's where you're getting your food. So part of the application is to add a canopy, and that's going to discharge into this new rain garden, and that's relatively clean water. Heading south, this is where we're going to replace. These are replacements for the holly that was previously behind the building. So we're going to reestablish those further south. And then there's an existing rain garden in this corner right here, which we're going to reestablish. We basically have to just kind of fix it up and replant it, but it's going to function as it was previously. Overall, we've actually reduced the impervious area within this wetlands. I forget like the buffer area. We've decreased that from over 6,000 square feet down to 3,300 square feet. So we've about almost a 50% reduction in impervious area in this wetlands buffer. And that really kind of sums it up. So we're increasing the landscaping. We're providing another rain garden between the building and Keeler's Brook, where there was previously a driveway, and we're going to be reestablishing this rain garden further to the south.
So this gray area, just right there, well, where your cursor,
Right,
yeah, right there, that gray, that long knife-shaped gray area is what is that going to be again? Is that just open space?
This graphically represents, or pictorially represents, the impervious area that's within the upland review area. And that's where we got the calculation from of 3,300 square feet. I can go back to, this is the prior approved plan, and you'll see that it was approved with all of this building in that area. This is the line. And then all of this drive-through was also in that area, and that's going to be revegetated.
So there'll be a slight increase in the amount of open space alongside the upland review area.
I don't know if I would call it open space. I would call it, you know, landscaping or rain garden.
Okay,
or
that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Actually, it's kind of, it's a 50% increase, or actually almost a 100% increase in open space.
So removing that drive-through that circulates counterclockwise from adjacent to Connecticut Avenue, and then where the cursor is behind the building, which then exits out or flows out into the parking lot. That area where it's parallel to Keeler's Brook, where Dan is right now moving the cursor, that the impervious surface comes up, additional plantings and rain garden get installed, and that drive aisle around the northern portion of the property and onto the western portion of the property get removed.
Yeah, we're holding the existing curb line for the drive-through, and then as we get, because we're going to replace some parking in there, but as we wrap around the building, this is all going to be new landscaping.
Commissioners?
So
I'm looking at C701 And with regard to, well, actually, no, you don't even have to navigate away. Just stay where you are. So there's a note that says proposed sod or prop sod, and then there's a prop base and seed mix, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we're still gonna have a mix of, there's the rain garden there in the light green, bushy looking shape.
Yes.
Then there's just regular old sod on either side of it.
Yeah, there's going to be sod on the north side of the building with 4 trees, and then on the south side, we can't plant anything over here. I mean, we could probably do another seed mix, but on the south side we have a gas line running under there.
Yeah.
So we can't really plant any trees or we don't want to plant any shrubs on that.
Yeah.
And
Did
then,
I see somewhere previously you had a meadow mix? Was that what was in the last approved plan in some of those areas?
yes, I believe so. I mean, we could match the mix. Yeah, meadow mix.
With the intent of it being something that's not going to get sprayed or fertilized or whatever on a regular basis, I think is what I'm angling at here.
Yeah, it's all going to be native. It's going to require minimal watering, but yeah, it's a regular seed mix. I can probably bring up a picture of a similar one that we would probably spec out.
Okay. And then if you don't mind me continuing, so that rain garden to the south at the bottom of the plan, so that's like what, 5 years old, 6 years old? And you're redoing it? When was this done originally?
This was probably 2017. Yeah, it's probably about 5 years old.
5 years old or so. So, and you're redoing it because it's just not working out, or?
No, it's just the nature of the work that we're doing. We're doing work back here, so I guarantee that it's going to get disturbed one way or another. And we are also taking runoff from a order canopy, which is located right here. Again, that's going to be clean roof water and discharging it into the rain garden. So this whole rain garden is going to get disturbed. We're basically going to regrade it and replace it in kind.
I see. And and is there existing subgrade infiltration features like below the main parking area that handles most of the surface water?
Yes, there's a drainage system right here, right out in front. We're not touching that. We're not adding any flow to that. Overall on the site, we are able to kind of discharge the same square footage of pavement to the same outfalls on the site.
So for that rain garden there in the light green, that is catching the roof canopy that you said is at the north corner of the building and that additional paving area?
So overall, there is no additional paving area. But yeah, it's going to be catching this canopy here, and only that canopy.
All right, and then I'm sorry, the knife-shaped gray hatched area that Commissioner Mailing pointed out. So that is pavement, but that's already there.
This is the total square footage. This kind of represents the square footage of our impervious within the upland review area.
Oh.
And that's 3,300 square feet compared to 6,300 on the existing conditions.
Got it. So it's not additional. It's just you're just calling that out separately because that's within the upland review area.
Correct. Yes.
Got it. Okay. Sorry if those are dumb questions. I just wasn't.
No. It's hard to show everything on. We've got multiple plans here, so.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Is there an in-ground irrigation system for the light green area and the darker green area? I mean, how are you, is that just, I mean, a rain garden is supported by rain, but the other area, I wonder, does it have an irrigation system?
These areas should already be irrigated. The interior of the site is going to be irrigated, and we'll probably have to put a new head in this area north of the building.
Okay.
I have a question about the plants. You have the shamrock inkberry and the red buds and hawthorn, and I don't see those on the planting schedule. So I was wondering about quantities for the holly and sizes.
So they're not on the schedule yet because these were kind of like a last minute change based on discussions with Alexis. So we're going to be putting 4 new trees up here, 2 hawthorns and 2 redbuds, because existing, I think there's 2 at the north end and 2 at the south end that are going to get disturbed, and we're going to have to remove them. So we're just replacing the ones that were removed. And then the inkberry hollies, I think there's currently 47 behind the building. So we're going to try to replace that many in kind to the south. So it's going to be almost like for like at the end of the day, just in different locations. And we'll match whatever was previously approved as far as the sizes go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So it sounds like before the next meeting, a revised plan with an updated schedule, and then maybe a consideration of the application of sod closest to the wetland, and to see if there's a native seed mix that might do for a portion, maybe just under the trees or something like that.
Okay, we could do that.
Okay.
Commissioners, anything further? I, for one, now that it's been just my own personal plan to go down and take a look at some point and just sort of walk along the edge of Keeler Brook and see, because this schematic does a good job of I think, illustrating how it's going to be. Thank you for that.
Anyone else have any other questions of Mr. Peterson or of me? Happy to answer them.
I was just going to chime in and say, actually, what's behind you, Ms. Suchi, is the ancient Greek Paestum city.
That is Paestum, that's right.
2 of the 3 temples from about 500 BC.
Right. It's an entire area in near Salerno in Italy. And it's, if you ever have the opportunity, I highly recommend it. It's a great place to visit.
I've actually been. I saw it and I was like, wait a second, that looks familiar. So yeah, I agree. It is
great.
Gorgeous. Anyway, sorry, totally unrelated, but just
no worries. Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for your time tonight. We'll make sure that the plan is revised. We'll get it to Alexis electronically so it can be posted, and we'll take a look at a native seed mix, and if that can be incorporated, we'll certainly add that to a revised plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks everyone.
Okay, moving along now to S22-591. Thank you, Mr. Peterson.
Thank you.
14 Apple Tree Lane, Grumman Engineering, construction of a new residence with associated grading and stormwater management adjacent wetland and water course. Is anyone here from Grumman?
Yes, good evening. Dean Martin with Grumman Engineering, representing this application. If I can get my screen up here. There we go. Can everyone see the rendering?
Yes.
Okay. Again, for the record, Dean Martin with Grumman Engineering. This is an application for a proposed single-family dwelling to be constructed at 14 Apple Tree Lane. This was a parcel subdivided from the adjacent number 16 Apple Tree Lane, which is on the south side of the property. Property is located off from the north side of Apple Tree Lane. This is a 1 acre parcel. There's a wetland in the western portion of the property, which is highlighted in blue, with a possible offsite water course, which is again highlighted in blue. this location. The 50-foot setback off from the wetland line is right here, this thin red line. The 100-foot upland review line off the water course is this red line. The majority of the proposed construction will be outside of the review areas. Again, it's going to be a 5-bedroom dwelling. Driveway will be located here in this access way on the northern side of or on the eastern side of the property. The proposed septic system will be these 2 yellow trenches under the driveway. There will be stormwater retention consisting of concrete galleys, 3 separate locations, one area here on the western side of the house, an area on the eastern side of the house, and it's another area down in under the driveway and the access strip. The closest disturbance to the wetland would be the location of the footing drain outlet right here, which would be 22 feet off from the wetland line. The proposed house itself will be approximately 90 feet off from the wetland line, and the patio on the western side of the dwelling would be about 75 feet off from the wetland line. The septic system is being reviewed currently by the Norwalk Health Department. We do not have an approval from that agency yet. And the stormwater system is being reviewed by the Department of Public Works. It's approximately a 2,050 square foot dwelling. The wetland area here, like I said, is in the eastern or in the western portion of the property. Is about 850 square feet, just under 850 square feet out of the 1 acre parcel. That's essentially it. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners? I have one question. The blue line at the top of the schematic is Mr. Teal's line of the wetlands, and there are no other wetlands on this piece of property that we're talking about. That's correct?
That's correct.
What if one were to extend the blue line to the right, in what direction would it go? Would it just continue to go in the direction that it seems to be aimed, or would it loop around back down and come let me just see if I can find where the north-south is on this.
Yeah, this is the north arrow. This is the north side of the property over here.
Okay.
If you extended this line north, it probably would follow the property line. There's a stone wall right here, and it looks like on the opposite side of the stone wall there is a wetland.
Okay. So the area where your hand is now, this general area there and below, is just someone else's backyard, or
correct? Yes.
It's not involved in the wetlands at all.
If you want to stop sharing for a minute, Dean, I can show an aerial photograph of the site real quick. Thank you. So the property lines are up a little bit, as Mr. Martin noted. It was part of 16. And so here is Apple Tree. This is the lot 16 that he referred to. The lot line, which now includes this part of 14, but also some of 16, kind of goes right through where they used to have a pool and around. And then let me zoom in a little tiny bit. Try to. Hold on a second. Didn't know we had 2021 aerials.
Okay, great.
And so this is the wetland area here. Kind of this kind of stipply, I don't know how to describe it. area, the water course itself becomes, I definitely say that this is the kind of a headwaters water course. At this portion of the wetlands, it's wetlands further to the north, but then it becomes more of a defined bank through these areas here. And then it kind of takes a turn and heads over to Silver Mine Brook is here, which then in turn flows over to the Silver Mine River.
Okay. And the character of the wetlands is an intermittent stream together with a kind of marshy wetlands area. Is that an accurate description? I'm just thinking in terms of stormwater runoff and flooding and impact on the neighbors, and how that might work. That's all. It's hard to imagine. I'm just trying to get it straight in my head.
Yeah, I'd say it's more of kind of a red maple swamp with areas of seasonal inundation throughout.
Okay, so as near as I can tell, this activity is not going to impact that much at all, and that will still retain whatever benefit it has at the moment for catch basin and other utilitarian functions.
Correct. So the stormwater plan, as Mr. Martin stated, is still pending review from the Public Works Department, and likewise the septic system is still pending its review. But one of the things that the DPW review will be looking at is whether the proposed system does meet the city's current stormwater drainage standards, which would require any increase runoff be captured on site, right, and not leave the site.
What's the little blue thing that looks like a pool that's in the middle of it?
Piece
of canvas that somebody left, or I don't know.
There was at one point there was a pool on that property. It's been removed.
Yes.
Oh.
So this was the pool. So the property line now, I think you can maybe see it on the site plan.
Yeah, it kind of goes
your little
through that pool pin area.
Next to your green pin.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
A boat or a tarp, something under a tarp.
Yeah.
A boat.
It's a boat.
It's a boat. Right.
It's a shore sign of a wetland. Whenever there's a boat on the property.
As the water rises, there'll be an easy way off the property.
Right.
Okay.
Alexis, I'm sorry, Mr. Mailing, were you done?
Yes.
Alexis, could you hop back to the site development plan, please? Toward the west end of the proposed area of work?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the one that's on the website, or we can have Mr. Martin share his colored one again. But
no, this is fine. If one more tick in, if you don't mind, one more.
Okay.
Just a tick more. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff in gray. So you said like existing pool to be removed. That's kind of where the site turns a corner of the southwest or the south edge of the site. I'm sorry, not south edge. How do I describe that? This is a pork chop, a lamb chop shape.
Right. So this is where the old pool was. Correct.
Okay, and that's not there anymore.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So what I'm seeing in gray is like from some old scope of work. So like existing shed to be removed, that's also like not there?
So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Martin, but I think it's the recent survey that was done in 2000 maybe?
Yeah, it was done 2015, I believe, is what this is taken from.
Okay, so
and then it must have been updated because the wetlands flags were added in 2020.
Okay, so the removing of the pool and the shed is not actually part of the scope of work?
Correct, just the black, dark black.
Okay, and then so I see 2 X's between the pool and the shed. So there's a 36-inch tree and a 30-inch tree, which seem to be just outside the upland review area for the wetland, but within the watercourse review area.
Correct. Those, yes, those were part of this application. One of those is a dead tree. The 30-inch tree is essentially dead. It is a danger. The owners want to take that down. And the 36-inch tree, the same thing. It's not really a dead tree, but it looks like it's not a healthy tree. So they just wanted to remove those just to eliminate any future issues.
We don't have any sort of arborist report on those, do we?
No.
They're just not pretty trees. Okay, and then I also see future pool, that is in black. So are we like reviewing and approving that too?
No, that's just a space for a future pool. If the owners in the future deem to put something there.
All right, so whatever we approve here, I think we should make it clear that we're not approving future pool. That would have to be another application somewhere down the line. Okay, I think, and so we're not removing any other trees back in that area at all?
No, just the two trees down on the south side.
And as far as grading goes on that side of the site, it looks like our 228 and our 229 are getting, looks like we're filling in a little bit to the west. Is that right?
Filling in a little bit down to the, just to the west or just to the east of that silt fence line. The dark dashed line is our silt fence line, limit of disturbance.
Okay. But that's, and that's still outside the upland review area anyway. No, so the only thing that actually actively extends into the upland review area is the footing drain, which we don't expect to be putting all that much moisture out at any given time.
Correct. There is the 100-foot water course upland area is, I don't have, it's not my screen, but is this kind of dashed line, which right there, yes. So there is a little bit of activity, some grading, some stormwater, management work that would be within that 100-foot review line.
Okay, just making sure I understood what was happening.
Is there a house on this property before this?
No, this was just a vacant portion of the property that was divided out.
Is there any way, Dean, that the footing drain and related disturbance could be moved further from the remaining 36-inch tree that's kind of in this cluster?
Yeah, I could push it a little bit further to the north, just to get it away from that tree a little bit, certainly.
Yeah, how does that go in? Is it trenched?
Yes.
So you'd be ripping up any roots that you'd be coming across?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if it could be out of the drip line of that tree.
Okay.
That would probably be.
And the point is to get it below the 223 elevation line, right? I assume, because that aligns
yes.
The basement.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And our original plan was to install the septic system down on this side of the property, and then it just became too tight. And also, so we moved the septic onto under the driveway, got it further away from the wetlands, but it just opened up the backyard a little bit more.
Has there been consideration to replant 2 trees to replace the ones that are coming down?
We haven't offered that, but I mean, if that would be a requirement, I don't think that would be an issue. The remainder of the area beyond the siltation fence to the west, with the exception of the footing drain, will remain undisturbed. And it is, heavily treed. Not all the trees are shown, but there are, a number of substantial sized trees over in that area.
That said, if it's not too onerous a requirement, it would be good to try to replace those trees. as we go to the final step of this. I mean, we're being reasonably draconian about tree cover as best we can. So it's important to us, at least.
I agree with the chairman. I mean, I think it's a good practice if we're going to cut down trees to try and at least make a best effort to replace them.
Okay, any other questions or comments from commissioners? Okay, thank you, Mr. Martin. And
so we'll see you next week. And then if you do have any revisions, and it sounds like what maybe suggested repositioning of the trench, and then possibly 2 trees.
Okay.
In the buffer.
All right. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Night.
All right, moving on to S21-587, 1 Manresa Island Avenue, Norwalk Power LLC. Excavation, grading, filling, and planning associated with sediment remediation activities in the inland wetlands, as previously discussed. Is anyone here from Norwalk Power?
Well, they are, but the public hearing opened and closed, so you won't be hearing from them technically.
Okay, there's nothing new. So
yeah, there can't be anything new. So the last time you had your meeting, the last meeting of January, you opened and closed the public hearing on the application. 1 member of the public spoke.
Okay, well, I mean, so we can move directly to staff's February 4th memorandum, which suggests a possible draft resolution on this matter.
Right, you can discuss. Discussion is always good, and then you can decide.
Well, one discussion is that on the paragraph that starts, "Now therefore be it resolved," it has a site, the numeric description of the site, 586-1010. I think after that is supposed to be written, "be approved," or something like that.
Oh dear, okay.
That the activities be approved with the following conditions. You see where that is?
I will.
And then the growing season in this, the growing seasons that we're talking about here would end on October 15th, 2023, I believe, if we're talking about the ultimate return of the bond. I'm trying to figure out when we get to take a look and see how this replanting has done. You know, has it been satisfactory and successful or not? And we get to find that out on October 15th, 2023, if I've got this right.
So,
I'm reading off the resolution.
Got you. So that first condition that requires a bond prior to the initiation of work. And so it would be for any, it may be 2023. It depends on when the work would begin.
Oh, I see.
But it does talk about the bond being eligible for release following at least 2 full growing seasons after the season of initial planting, and a growing season being from May 15th to October 15th of any given year. So, so it really depends on when the work is and the planting of the wetlands is completed.
But staff would trudge out there and satisfy itself that that it had gone the way we wanted it to go.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, we can continue. I mean, I would, you know, there's obviously a lot of stuff going on Kaiser Point or Manresa Island. What we're doing has nothing to do with that. And so I would be inclined to propose a motion to accept the resolution as we've discussed it, but there would be room for further discussion if the motion is seconded before we vote on it. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I move that the application S21-587 draft resolution be approved as outlined in staff memorandum dated February 4th with the conditions as shown and the adjustment as I made earlier about the inclusion of the words be approved. That's my motion.
Second?
Okay, now we can have discussion if anybody wants to dig in on this. Okay, hearing none, then I would say let's go to a vote. Alexis, can we do it by roll call, please?
Yes, I'll go alphabetical order again. So that would be Ms. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Holowenko.
Abstain.
Mr. No, I did not go in alphabetical order.
Shame, for shame.
Commissioner Balliot. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Commissioner, oh, this is a challenge. Mailing.
Aye.
No, Clark. Aye, okay. Clocky.
Aye.
And Mr. Pence. I can hear you.
Aye.
Sorry, thank you. All right, so motion passes unanimously.
Okay. We can move along now to approval of minutes. I have to say it's awkward listening to what's going on the computer for me because there's a howling windstorm going on outside and the noise is remarkable. I don't know how it is where you guys are, but it's anyway. We have the January 25th, 2022 meeting minutes at which we discussed, well, various things. In any case, does anybody have any errors, omissions, or changes to make to the prior minutes? Hearing none, does anyone want to move acceptance of the minutes?
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Do I hear a third? All right, I'll second it. Or no, Ed has seconded it. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we come to election of officers. And my suggestion, well, I'm just, you know, at this point, it's awkward to try to figure out whether I'm even in a position to suggest, but the bylaws state that no officer may continue to hold the same office for 2 consecutive terms. And what we're talking about doing tonight is to make up a term that goes from February to this coming July. So that effectively would be my second term and Commissioner Clocky's second term. And my suggestion would be that, well, I'm speaking for myself, I would volunteer to run for re-election to my current title on the basis that I will not be holding it after July and that it will be open for someone else. I mean, it just seems to make sense to me to get us back on schedule. If anybody else has anything to contribute on this, I'm wide open for it. But that's my thinking. As far as the procedure for electing officers, I would at this point shut up and hand off to Alexis.
Well, if you need nominations, then I would nominate Commissioner Mailing to be chair for another.
Sounds good. So that's generally how you've done it in the past. This group has never had like a nominating committee or anything
Good.
At all organized. And so any nominations are thrown out and or presented, and then you typically just call a vote on that nomination and you're done.
Well, at the risk of echoing the Putin-Medvedev operation, I nominate Commissioner Clockey to continue to function as assistant vice chair if he's willing to take on the responsibility.
Wait, am I Valieva? Is that what you said?
Well, you're nominated. Yeah, you get nominated continue to do the job you're doing, unless you don't want to.
Now, wait a second. She's a figure skater, though, right?
No, she was the president. He moved out of the way to have a president so that he could come back in later.
All right. I'm obviously not keeping up with current events. So
forget the whole Russia thing. Okay, that is the jury will disregard all the Russia stuff. Okay, anybody else in this? I mean, honestly, this is, I don't think it makes a hell of a lot of difference who's the chairperson and the vice chairperson if we've got a good commission, and we do. So, you know, no other nominations, nothing more. Okay. Then what do we have to take a vote now, Alexis? Is that's how we stumble along? Okay, fine. All in favor of me and Steve continuing to do what we're doing until July, say aye, I guess.
Aye.
Aye.
For a motion.
Aye.
Okay, phew, that's done. Moving on to 8 comments of staff, report of the senior environmental officer. One, go ahead, Alexis. I mean,
No, I don't really have anything. I'm going to send you all an email for the state has finally started up their commissioner training again, or did I send that to you already? Okay. Yeah, I don't really have any important news really.
okay, all right. Comments of commissioners. I only want to say that I have learned that former Commissioner Keegan, who is now on the Common Council, has recruited a fellow named Matthew. Oh God, I can't find
Merluzzi.
Mazzoli?
I thought it was Merzu. Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Take your packet. It's not fair to not know the guy's name. You know?
Merluzzi, Alexis. Wait,
Mazzoli? Is that
I think it's Merluzzi, Alexis. That's what you told me last week. Yeah, yes. I think so.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm just saying.
Thank you.
And he goes up in front of the Common Council tonight, right?
In a half an hour. Mm-hmm.
In half an hour, right. And I don't know if anybody else is on that list. I didn't look at their agenda. Huh?
That's it.
Okay. So if anybody knows them, you can call them up and say, welcome aboard or something. And we're still looking for 1 or 2 more because we've got lots of vacancies in terms of, standby commissioners. So that's where that is. And I have nothing more to say. And so we're down to item 10, which is adjournment, and the floor encourages anyone to step up.
I'll make a motion.
There you go. I knew we brought you on board for a reason, Cheryl. Okay. Cheryl moves.
I'll second it.
We appointed a volunteer to second that motion, and all in favor. See you all in 2 weeks.
You guys.
Good night.